Welcome to the Rotowire Fantasy Football Podcast, sponsored by the Circa Million and Circa Survivor Contest. I'm Jim Coventry, along with James Koh. James and I will be analyzing overvalued and undervalued players because he is the sleeper king in Fantasy 2025 Fantasy Football Draft. You have a crown to go with that king title because you've earned it.
Well, thank you, man. Hey, listen, I feel like we should rebrand this to the Jim Jam Show or something. You know, Jim and James. Well, I don't know what we got going on, but there's something working here. You know, I feel like we got a little something.
Well, with that said, we are going to talk a couple players that I think are going to bust, and we will see if James Koh agrees or disagrees, because it's always some good discussion here. Yeah. I'm starting out with James Cook of the Buffalo Bills. And who didn't love James Cook last year? 18 touchdowns. But James, what people missed, the under the surface stuff. 2 years ago, Cook had 1,567 scrimmage yards. Last year, 1,267, a 300-yard dip. He lost about 35, 40 touches. So it wasn't even like the same level. He dropped significantly. His broken tackle rate was okay, 56% down, but he was good after contact, 75% out. So he is really good. But here's the thing, James. What I noticed, that 18 touchdowns, in his prior 33 games, he had 7. It is what it is. Right. He did great last year. But Josh Allen scored 12 touchdowns. Are they really going to run in 30 touchdowns? And my question is kind of probably not. But if we go further on this, with James Cook, his snap share was great, James, in the first half of the season, commonly playing 54% and upward. After week 10, he was normally in the 36 to 46% range. If you watch those games, Ray Davis played, Ty Johnson played. And some people say, oh, well, James Cook's a great receiver. But sometimes with a coach, it's like, can you navigate a broken play? And Ty Johnson showed us in that NFL playoff game, when there's a broken play, he got behind the linebacker in the end zone and Allen hits him. So I think this is a timeshare. Cook wants money. He's not getting $15 million. And no, he is not getting that. And he wants more work, but the team has told us 2 years in a row, he's probably not. Where do you stand on James Cook?
James Cook is an interesting one because I think it's almost impossible for him to have, 15, 16 touchdowns. It's just, as you mentioned, you take a look at the total touches that he had, and it's just not there. There's just not enough opportunity there for him to get double-digit touchdowns this year. And again, we're talking about a player that, had 18 touchdowns. I think he had 9 combined in his previous 2 seasons or something.
7.
Something along those.
7 in 18 games or 33 games. 7 in 33 games he had.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's just not going to happen. I'll give you touchdown rates as well. James Cook averaged a touchdown every 12.9 attempts last year. Across all NFL running backs, the league average was a touchdown every 30.9. So more than double the touchdown rate of your typical NFL back. Now, again, if James Cook goes back to the mean, back to the median there, we're looking at a guy that's going to score 6 to 7 touchdowns if, again, he gets the ball, 210, 215 times like he did in 2024. So to your point, I think, 100%. I think we're looking at a player that probably gives you 1,300 yards. I think is probably a really good estimate, and probably 6 to 7 touchdowns. The scary thing about touchdowns is that it could go the other way too. I mean, shoot, this guy could get you 1,400 yards and get you 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it goes, especially when you're talking about in the red zone. Josh Allen, he's going to carry the ball. You've got all these other pass catchers that are developing right now. It's the touchdown number could fluctuate tremendously. All right. That being said, Jim, I've got 2 things that kind of are picking at me here. One is the cost, right? Like everyone is kind of sort of pushed down James Cook, almost double counting the touchdowns and taking that into consideration. Right now in Rotowire ADP, he is the RB14, just after Breece Hall, just ahead of Alvin Kamara and Omarion Hampton. Other running backs that are being taken after him: Kamara, Hampton, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, who we're going to talk about, Chuba Hubbard, and James Conner. To be honest with you, Jim, I don't know. You take a look at that list right there. Where do you stand in terms of James Cook in relation to those running backs? Because I almost feel like I probably want James Cook among that group anyways.
It's a lateral question because I'm taking a wide receiver at that point of the draft. I don't
Right.
like the running backs in that range. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You could get me going on Omari and Hampton if Najee Harris continues to miss time and Hampton really like cooks it up. No,
Right.
James Cook during the preseason, but I'm pivoting to wide receiver there, James. So I get what you're saying. I think all of those running backs in that area you mentioned are the trap. The one I want is the one that's going outside number 20, and that's James Conner. But that's another story for another day. But so in terms of the bust, I think he's in that group, and I don't think any of them earn that draft capital as opposed to the receiver you'll take there who is going to give you a higher floor and ceiling. Where do you stand on that?
No, I think that's the right way to go about doing it. You know, I think that's 100% accurate. I think I just bring up the ADP just because again it's interesting. And then I'll also say this: the other thing again that's sticking in my craw here is the fact that you talk about the total touches here, right? And the fact of the matter is, James Cook only took home 55% of the total running back opportunities last year. Running back opportunities, as I define it, are carries and targets. Right, so he only took home 55% of the running back opportunities last year. That ranked 21st in the NFL. Jim, you could take that stat one of two ways. You could say, well, Buffalo has established the fact that they are not going to give this guy more touches.
Right.
They're going to work in Ray Davis. They're going to work in Ty Johnson, to your point. Or you could look at that number and say, well, Buffalo might say to themselves, all right, this is truly the last year of James Cook. Let's just load this guy up with 300 touches. And again, we'll just, if he wants to walk, he can walk, but we're not gonna pay that salary. But we will give him 250, 275 touches. And so I'm just saying that there is room for growth there if that's the narrative that you want to take.
Now, James, I'm going to consult my long-term memory here, okay? And that's how dangerous slope we're going down here. But I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, and James Cook, they started to use him heavier. And then what happened was in his last 7 games of 2023, not 2024, 2023, including a playoff game, he averaged 2.64 yards per carry. And I think the team figured out that James Cook is better with the less work you give them. And look, this team has their mindset on the Super Bowl. They are not talking 17 games. They're talking 20 games. And so that said, they are going to probably want James Cook to be explosive in the playoffs, not worn down. Anything on that?
No, I think that, and again, like I said, that's what's kind of got me torn here on James Cook. We could see more volume, but I could definitely see the point where the team has established the fact that they like James Cook in doses. So yeah, again, I'm really torn on it, man. I lean towards passing at this price. It's like at the same time, man, he's such a good player, and it's like, oh man, I don't want to just write this player off either. So, this is a player that I am truly, truly torn on, and I don't know what to do given his ADP. I will say this: I think his ADP is actually okay with where I'm at, kind of like weighing his options. You know what I'm saying? But to your point, I think at that point in the draft, let me just go wide receiver, man. Like, take the headache off of my plate, and let me just go wide receiver here, and let's see what's up.
Now, to finalize it, taking what you said and what I said together, if you come out the gate with 3 straight wide receivers, James Cook usually is in the 4th round, depending if you're picking early or late in that 4th round. If you have a 4th round pick and you don't have a running back yet, look, I see Cook is maybe not meeting the value, but if you went with no running backs and you're choosing between, like you said, the Hamptons of the world, the Camaras of the world, I'm not going to yell and say, what are you doing taking Cook? So I think that kind of puts a bow on it, that we agree that if that's your situation, take him. But if you already have a running back or two, James and I said, just take the wide receiver and call it a day, and then take a lot of that bigger risk out and go with more measured risk. All right, let's see next. Joe Mixon, Houston, Texas. Now, full disclosure, I plan on bringing him up well before Saturday, June 26th news update that Mixon may not be evaluated until the regular season, that foot injury. But this even makes the case greater. Now, Mixon's ADP will go down by the day or the week, so understand that. But even before this, I'll say this. Joe Mixon, if you had him for fantasy last year, you were happy for the most part. First 10 games or so, he was cashing for you. And he cashed for me. Very excited. Well, after that, all of a sudden, he saw that the production slow down late in the season, and it was problematic. So that said, efficiency continues to tumble for Mixon. He'll be 29 right now. His broken tackle rate, 19th percentile. Yards after contact, 22nd. In 5 of his last 6 games, 10.7 PPR points are left. That wasn't good. I saw a declining player already. And now, again, take the foot injury out because I think this is a big, big problem for him. You're going to talk about one player, but I'm talking about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, I thought all along was going to steal this job. Nick Chubb, I believe him at his word. He said he's back to squatting what he squatted. He said his agility and his speed are back to pre-injury. And I believe him because he had a devastating knee injury coming out of college, and he came back to be Superman from that. He was never going to be right last year. Never in a million years was he going to be right last year. This year, he's still 29. The mileage on the tires, not great. So I think Joe Mixon missing this time gives Nick Chubb plenty of time to show the coaching staff, oh my goodness, we got a keeper here. But you're going to maybe point out him, but you're going to point out someone else as well.
Well, I mean, listen, you can't talk about this backfield without also talking about Woody Marks. Because, again, I love Nick Chubb. I think Chubb is truly one of the best running backs of his era, truly, and was great. As you mentioned, just the mental toughness and the mental fortitude and just physical freakish nature to come back from that devastating knee injury in college to then again be one of the best running backs of his time. That's impressive. But this is now a second devastating knee injury to the same knee. He's an older player, and I don't think the reports out of camp right now are looking that rosy for him either. So I do think that Woody Marks is going to have an opportunity here. I've never really been a big Joe Mixon guy, because people have been hyping this guy since he entered the league, and every single year, Jim, his backups have outperformed him from an efficiency standpoint. Right? So that's what I don't get, is the fact that Joe Mixon is supposed to be this, this otherworldly talent, and yet how is it possible that his backups continue to outperform him from an efficiency standpoint? That part I just don't get. And again, I was with you. Look, there is a lot to be had here with Nick Chubb. I don't think there's any question there. But if I'm looking at an even cheaper option, and again, if I'm going to earn my moniker of the Sleeper King, okay, we got to go look at Woody Marks now.
We do.
got to go look at Woody Marks. He's an explosive player. I did chart him, right? He had a 23.3% explosive run rate while at USC. That was tops in the charted class. I charted 12 of the top running backs coming into 2025. Woody Marks was the most explosive of them all. Right, so that was very, very impressive. He's great in zone, terrible in man gap. He's literally the worst success rate I had in terms of man gap success rates. But it doesn't matter. Again, what they're going to do in Houston, they're going to run zone. They're going to run zone all day long, which is great. This guy's always searching for cutback opportunities. And as a matter of fact, go turn on that tape against Michigan. 70-yard run against Michigan. That came on a cutback. Now, that did happen to come on a man gap scheme play. But again, Joe Mixon did find a cutback lane in that situation, ran at 70 yards. Okay. The one issue that I think is going to hamper him getting on the football field, this guy is a straight-up liability in pass pro.
Not good.
We know Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's good in pass pro, man. You know what I mean? So I think that will limit his opportunities. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Mixon misses time.
Yes.
That Houston really goes with a 50-50 backfield here with Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. Because, again, where is Chubb in his recovery? I would imagine the first 6 weeks would be very, very telling. I'd be surprised if Houston really try to, again, lay out Nick Chubb at that level for the first 6 weeks. Again, just because of the health, and let's get this guy going. Let's think about the postseason here a little bit. Let's get the running back room right and situated so that they're not having to rely. I mean, worst case scenario, Jim, can you imagine Joe Mixon misses time at the start of the season, and then they try to load up Nick Chubb and he gets hurt? Oh my goodness! Now what are we working with? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you're
I think
right.
from a roster standpoint, it makes sense that they would, if Joe Mixon were to miss time, I think it makes a lot of sense for them to go 50-50 in that backfield.
And when you mentioned Mixon, my name for him was the great compiler. And for fantasy, there's
Yes.
nothing wrong with that because he gets
Sure.
you points, but he is not really, an efficient running back, and that's been a problem. All right, the Circa Million and Circa Survivor are back with a massive $21 million in guaranteed prizes. The Circa Million, you pick 5 games against the spread each week, 18 weeks of action, 126 ways to win, $1 million for the winner at $6 million overall guaranteed. Circa Survivor, 1 pick a week, no point spread, last the longest to win it all, at least 15 million guaranteed. You enter in Nevada, you play from anywhere, 21 million overall guaranteed. Visit circasports.com for details. That brings us next to Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs. Father time is starting to be a bit of an issue. And I've said this, it's like a weight on your back, and every year gets a little heavier and heavier. And all of a sudden, we saw Kelce, his worst year since 2013. 823 yards is still really good. 3 touchdowns is not Kelce good. 97 catches was great. But oh my goodness, 8.6 yard per reception. He was normally over 10, 11, 12 most of his career. 16th percentile after the catch. You could just see, just can't get it going. Why did he see 133 targets? Well, Hollywood Brown missed almost the whole season. Rashee Rice missed almost the whole season. Xavier Worthy was learning the offense, really didn't get fully integrated till the second half of the year. So Kelce was just loaded up with targets. And look, I know Rashee Rice, again, as of this recording, we don't know his status for missed time, but Worthy's there, Brown's there. I just think they're going to rest him for a Super Bowl run. Like, I don't mean like sit him out, but I think they're not going to overextend him because of their goal, which it always is to win a Super Bowl. I think they need Kelce. So I think that they're going to not he'll be 36 in week 4, James. I think that the diminished skills, I just think other weapons, I think they're going to phase him down a lot until the playoffs. What are your thoughts?
Also, Jim, what are your thoughts on him losing this much weight, though? I mean, again, he has lost a tremendous amount of. I get that last year he was a little too husky. He probably partied with Taylor a little bit too much. Okay. Private jets got him going. That champagne on that private jet, I'm sure tastes sweet. I'm sure it tastes nice, But man, he is thin right now.
Yes.
And hopefully that does help with his overall explosiveness and speed. But it was a little strange seeing him that small. So, and again, it's not like he's playing wide receiver. He's playing tight end. Like, you still have to have some bulk, some meat on you to go get after it in that run game too. You know what I mean? So I'm a little torn on that, man. I don't know. What did you think about when you saw him being as slim as he is?
I worry about him taking hits because age is a problem. I mean, look, I've been through those phases of my athletic life, and I know the durability changes as you get older. And I think having less weight may sound good, but I don't think it is good. And he may have gained some explosiveness, but he's not Marquise Brown. He's not Rashee Rice, and he's certainly not Xavier Worthy. So if you got a little explosiveness gain, okay, great. You're Noah Gray, but you're not Travis Kelce vintage anymore. Anything else on that, James?
Nah, I think, and again, it's the price is still relatively high for Travis Kelce too, and I believe he finished as a tight end 3 last year because just based off of just volume alone. But again, Travis Kelce right now, according to Rotowire ADP, is the tight end 6.
Yep.
Right. So,
and that's not changing.
I don't think it's been pretty static,
Yes.
So, I would say, and again, depending on what platform you're going on, but he's largely going around pick 70. Right. So we're talking like 5th round, 6th round here. And to me, I just feel like that's still way too early for a player like Travis Kelce. I will say this, and I know this is going to change a lot, but Mark Andrews is the tight end 7. Nope, pass. Jonnu Smith, tight end 8. Nope, pass. Evan Ingram, tight end 9, which again, a brand new team for an older player, I generally doesn't work out too good. I'll pass. This is one of these situations where they talk about the running back dead zone. This is truly the tight end dead zone. I want none of those players in the middle rounds at tight end, like literally none. I would much rather just, again, take a stab at one of these late round guys, Tucker Kraft, Jake Ferguson. Give me one of these guys, like, come on. Like, let's see what's going on with Tyler Warren, who I think is a supremely talented player. And again, I've made the case for Kyle Pitts as the tight end 17 You know what I mean?
Woo!
Like going way, way late. So I don't know. That tight end dead zone for me, man. I'm out on all of those guys in the middle part.
Basically, I'm saying if you don't take a top 3 tight end, which I don't shop that early for tight end, wait till tight end 10 or so. And I have a ton of Jake Ferguson shares, and I'm really, really happy with it. All right, we're going to change it up and talk sleepers with the Sleeper King after we take a short break. All right, sleepers. We are starting out with Jatavian Sanders of the Carolina Panthers. James, Sanders was really coming on before that neck injury against Kansas City. I remember I started him in DFS against Kansas City. He did a little bit, but then he unfortunately got injured. But he had scored between 8.8 and 12.7 PPR points in 4 of the 5 games before that neck injury. And then when he came back, it was like they eased him. It's like they really didn't want to put him out there and to do too much. And because he only totaled 8 PPR points over 5 games. So it was like 1.5 points per game. That was it. So what do you like, Sleeper King, for Jatavian Sanders this year?
Again, I got to earn my keep over here. You know, if I'm going to go over here and be the self-proclaimed Sleeper King, man, like I got to give you players like Jatavian Sanders, you know, because this is a second-year player out in Carolina, out of Texas. And as you mentioned, I saw enough in that small sample that you brought up that this guy can play, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good player. And the biggest thing for me is the fact that the nominal starter, Tommy Tremble, just had back surgery a month ago. He is going to be out. And I don't know about you, man, but back surgery at this point in the offseason is a big deal to me. I don't think we're going to see Tommy Tremble. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts on the pup. I mean, again, we're talking about mobility. We're talking about fluidity. Can Tommy Tremble, who, again, is, by the way, not the most fluid dude anyways.
Nope.
If he has back surgery, what does that look like? I think it just opens the door for Jatavian Sanders to really get out there and establish himself as an every down starter. By the way, this dude's so young. He's crazy young. I know he's a second-year player. I believe he's 22 years old, though. I'm not going to waste people's time looking this up. But he is an extremely young player. He's 6'4", 245 pounds. He was given a round 2 or 3 grade by NFL.com's Lance Zierlein. He ended up being taken in the 4th round, so I thought Carolina really got a steal there. Lance Zierlein did compare Jatavian Sanders to David Njoku. Okay, so
we love that.
There's a lot to like about Jatavian Sanders, and this is the thing that you'll like the most, is the fact that he's free in drafts. Absolutely free. He's going outside the top 200. Nobody is considering him right now. And to me, obviously, I think he's going to beat ADP because he's going outside the top 200. But don't be surprised if he enters the streaming conversation each and every week. But, man, wouldn't you look like a genius if you went and just drafted this guy in the 15th, 16th round of your draft?
100% on that. I love the call. Not much to add on this one. I prefaced it. What I saw last year, I believe in him. He was showing growth development. So I'm with you on that. I think that's a great, especially if you're taking a third tight end, you're in a best ball league, or if you just punted the position altogether and, you're in the Netherlands, go ahead and take a shot. I'm going to let you start and talk about Trevor Lawrence. There's 2 camps on Lawrence, James.
Yeah.
The one camp is Liam Cohen's in town. Liam Cohen can save anybody, and Trevor Lawrence is going to be a superstar. And then there's another camp. I'm going to let you talk about your camp first.
Jim, I know you are not a big fan of Trevor Lawrence, and that's fine. I get it, man. But this is the energy that we bring to this show because, again, we're not going to be aligned on every player every single time. So it's all good. Let me just say this from a fantasy perspective. The same energy people are bringing with Caleb Plant. I got boxing on the brain right now.
Caleb Williams?
Caleb Williams. The same energy people got with Caleb Williams is the same energy people need to bring with Trevor Lawrence, right? We're talking about the QB 13 for Caleb Williams versus the QB 21, according to Rotowire ADP. So I just need that same energy, man. He's going 50, 60 picks after Caleb Williams, and that part of it to me just doesn't make sense. QB 21, I just think the disrespect needs to stop. You know, if we're talking QB 15, 16, I'm with you, man. But outside the top 20, outside the top 20 quarterbacks is that's crazy to me, man. That is absolutely nuts. And again, by the way, Baker Mayfield, quarterback 7 right now, and he absolutely balled out. 40-plus touchdowns last year. It was insane, right? Like, okay, he's great. But he lost Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen's going to Trevor Lawrence, okay? So, again, I love Liam Cohen. I love the pass catchers. They add Travis Hunter, who is potentially another, great, budding superstar to go along with BTJ. I'm going to talk about Brenton Strange, too, who I think can really play. But can I bring up one stat with you, man?
Please do.
And that, to me, I don't want to talk about the passing game, whatever. Okay, I like the passing game. But let me talk about the rushing floor for Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence set a career low in rush attempts per game, rush yards per game, and tied a career low in yards per attempt.
Yes.
Right? If he plays 17 games, I guarantee he is going to rush for 300-plus yards.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've made a video for this very channel, for Rotowire, saying that Trevor Lawrence will be a top 10 rushing quarterback. I think he's going to run for 350 yards. Why? Because Baker Mayfield last year under Liam Cohen set a career high in rush yards, carries, and yards per attempt last year. Liam Cohen gives his quarterbacks the green light. If you want to run, get out there and run. And that's the one thing about Trevor Lawrence that we liked coming into the league, is that he's got some legs, he's got some mobility, he can move. Under Doug Peterson, he had to be a statuesque quarterback. I think under Liam Cohen, he's going to be more fluid. He's going to be more mobile. I think he runs for 350-plus rush yards in 2025.
I don't think the rush yards are a stretch, James. He averaged 300-plus and 4 touchdowns from 2021 to 2023. It was just last year it was down. So I don't dispute that at all. I think you're right. There's a very good rushing floor, and there is something to be said for 300-plus yards for sure. The one thing I will say is Lawrence hasn't had a good season. Now, he's had bad coaching. He's had bad team around him. I don't think the offensive line is very good. I think that's a problem. Baker Mayfield had a great offensive line. I think that really helped him. It's a connection, because the big discussion for that I think the fantasy community is making, and you're right, the ADP isn't reflecting him because the community's not in on Lawrence, but yet there's a lot of people who are. But maybe they just know they could get him at quarterback 16 or 17. So maybe that's why the ADP hasn't gone up. Why would you take somebody at quarterback 12 if you could get him 6 spots later? So I think maybe that's the explanation. But the argument just falls on this. I think people are extrapolating Liam Cohen to now having superstar offenses. And that situation in Tampa, I will point out, Baker Mayfield had already had 3 seasons that were better than any season Lawrence had. His rookie year was better than any season that Lawrence had. The year after Freddie Kitchens was gone, significantly better than anything that Lawrence has done. And then certainly the year before the 41 touchdowns, he had 28. Those 3 seasons dwarfed him. So I just say Baker Mayfield. I think that we criticize Baker Mayfield as a fantasy and an NFL community because he played through the second year of Freddie Kitchens and 2 torn shoulders in 2021.
Right.
Every other year he's played, he's been good. Now that he had that year, we only played a couple snaps with Carolina and the Rams, but that said, he has been a good quarterback. And so I think we're trying to extrapolate that Baker's a bad quarterback and Liam Cohen fixed him. Whereas Trevor Lawrence, my big deal is decision making. As soon as a play breaks off, he either eats a sack, goes the wrong direction with the ball. We've seen him throw the most mind-numbing end zone interceptions because a play was a simulated pressure. And if that offensive line can't keep him clean, it's a big concern. Again, like you're saying, James, though, if the draft cost is this low, what's your real risk? So I think that the worst case scenario is Lawrence doesn't finish much below where he's drafted. So I think if you're picking him as a second quarterback, I'm going to agree that it's a pure upside pick. And there's really very little risk in that. So it's hard not to at least get behind that part of it because, like you said, he has weapons now. So at least he has that. But Cohen is going to have to figure out some way to address the decision-making. And whether that's schemed up stuff quickly, if he can get that done, it's going to have to be something because that's my only concern. That's a big one, is the decision-making. Any final thought on Lawrence?
No, I mean, and again, I don't necessarily buy the fact that, and look, you and other, very well-respected film breakdown guys have said the exact same criticism of Lawrence about the decision-making. and I get it. He has put some bad stuff on film. There's just no question. I just can't get around some of the throws that he has made. I can't get around some of the actually incredible decisions that he has made as well. Coming off of guys going to second, third options and just absolutely laser gunning it in there. So the skill, the talent level to me is there. Can Liam Cohen manufacture a quick game for him? And the other big question mark to me, and I think this is where Travis Hunter really comes into play, is does he have the personnel for quick game? I don't think in his time in Jacksonville, he really had too many guys that could separate quickly.
Sure.
I like Christian Kirk. I don't love Christian Kirk. Travis Hunter is just another stratosphere above. And I do think that Trevor Lawrence elevated the play of guys like Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. People forget about Evan. Evan Ingram was an absolute cast-off. I mean, this guy was an also-ran. This guy was on his last legs of his career and then was a reclamation project in Jacksonville. And then he got turned into whatever he got turned into. And again, I credit Trevor Lawrence for that. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm really, really interested. I think even if you want to just wait on the position totally and completely punt it, and this is one of your two quarterbacks that you draft after round 12, the upside case for Trevor Lawrence, I think, is really promising. And I'm really looking forward to what this season brings for Lawrence.
It sure will be exciting to watch. And look, I hope that Lawrence does fix it. And I hope you're right. I'd love to see a success story here. So let's hope that the Sleeper King has got this one in line and locked down. Hey, if you want to enter the greatest pro football contest in the world, the Circa Million Circa Survivor contest in Nevada offer a massive $21 million in prize money, and Vegas Proxy can help you play in these awesome contests. Vegas Football Proxy is based in Las Vegas and offers proxy services for customers all over the country. You sign up at the Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, then play from anywhere with Vegas Football Proxy. The folks at VFP are experienced professionals, 100% reliable, provide outstanding customer service. Their submission process is easy to use and ensures accurate and timely pick submissions. Tom Carroll and his team at VFP have been serving contest players for more than a decade and have helped countless clients achieve their dreams of just being able to compete in a Vegas contest all the way to winning the Circa Survivor. If you want to take a shot at $21 million in prize money, visit VegasFootballProxy.com/Rotopod. Again, VegasFootballProxy.com/Rotopod for more details. All right, James, we are going to a couple more sleepers here. The one we're going to talk about right now, Brenton Strange of those same Jacksonville Jaguars we just spoke about.
I'm not going to spend too much time on Brenton Strange because, again, I just laid out a very strong, I'm trying to lay out the upside case for Trevor Lawrence. If he gets there, Brenton Strange will certainly be part of that journey for him. I'm just utterly confused by the ADP for Brenton Strange right now because do people still feel like Evan Ingram is in Jacksonville? I think the news has not caught up to people yet that Brenton Strange is the starter, will be the starting tight end in Jacksonville. And this is a really, really good athlete, 255 pounds. He posted a crazy 36-inch vertical at the combine, and he's got good hands. This is a guy that can move. He's got the size to play inline. He's got the hands to play outside if you want. I mean, this is a good player, is Brenton Strange. And I'll also say this. Liam Cohen is coming from Tampa Bay. Do y'all remember Cade Otton last year? Cade Otton is not in the same ballpark of athleticism as Brenton Strange. Yet, he posted a career-high 87 targets last year. Now, injuries obviously played a huge part in Cade Otton posting that career-high in targets. But I will say this. Jacksonville's defense is, again, not going to be very good, right? So I do think that Jacksonville will be caught up. The Jags will be caught up in a lot more shootouts than you might think. And I like their schedule too, right? So watch for Brenton Strange to be a relatively reliable third option in the passing game for Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
James, we don't expect the Jacksonville defense to be very good this year. They have some pieces, some real nice pieces, but overall, it's not going to get a consistent pass rush. They'll get some. Their secondary probably not going to be world beaters, so they're going to have to score points. That means a lot of passing of the football. And we would be foolish to think all the targets are just going to those top two receivers. Brenton Strange, like you said, he at least showed 9.2 PPR points in 5 of 8 starts. Now, it's not a huge number, but again, it was in a kind of a dysfunctional offense. This offense will be way more functional, as you stated. So again, when you're looking late in your draft at some of these considered dart throw tight ends, which James is correct, he probably shouldn't be a dart throw, but he's priced as one. And so, therefore, you listen to the Sleeper King and you go after Brenton Strange late in your draft and collect on that one. Now, let's move to Dallas. That backfield seems muddy in a lot of ways, but maybe not as muddy as people think. So, first of all, we have Javonte Williams there, Miles Sanders, the two veterans who were brought over in free agency. 5th-round draft pick Jadon Blue. Even after that, they took Phil Maffa. So, some early talk about Jadon Blue was that the coaching staff intimated there may have been some work ethic issues. He also had some good looks in practice, but it's been clear from the beat writers that the number 1 right now is Javonte Williams. The number 2 is Miles Sanders. Doesn't sound like they're worlds apart, though. So Miles Sanders is somebody you like as a sleeper, James. Why don't you talk about him a bit?
Well, it's as you mentioned, a very muddy backfield. Let me just start by saying, why do we care about this backfield? It's because Dallas is anticipated to have a top 12 offense, if not a top 8 offense in the NFL next year with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and the addition of George Pickens. Okay. You want running backs in good offenses, period. Period. That's what you want. Okay. Last year, we're talking about a very unheralded player picking up 1,300 yards and, 5 or 6 touchdowns, right? This is why this matters. And Rico Dowdle, 1,300 yards, 5 touchdowns for Rico Dowdle last year. So this is why this matters. Can you imagine getting 1,300 yards, 5 touchdowns at the running back position after round 12? That's kind of what we're looking at here when I'm talking about either Miles Sanders or Jadon Blue. But to me, Javonte is the nominal starter, right? And actually,
yes.
in the most recent, they had a mailbag article for the DallasCowboys.com, and they asked the staff writers there. There's 4 of them. Who is going to be the starter in Dallas? And it was split right down the middle. 2 of them said Javonte. 2 of them said Miles Sanders, right? But they all said that they're both going to get work.
Yes.
Right? So I don't think that there is a true starter here. But if I am taking a stab at this backfield, why not go with the guy that is going the absolute latest? My God, Miles Sanders is going so late, outside the top 200 picks. And that's the only reason I bring his name up. I think Jadon Blue is a good player, obviously extremely explosive, ran a 4.38 40. He's insane fast. And from my charting that I did of Blue, this is a player that, again, I think will be absolutely critical in the pass game. But he's 5'9", 196 pounds. If you think that this player has the ability to hold up as a starter, then for sure take this guy. I just think that he's going to be an extremely explosive player that you see in doses. I was impressed overall with his pass blocking ability, but man, there is just no question. This I think his best attribute is out of the backfield, catching passes. He had a slick stutter and go against Ohio State for a touchdown. Go back and watch that Texas game against Ohio State. Man, he put the linebacker on ice. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's great out of the backfield as a pass catcher, and I think that is the role that he will have. Man, Javonte Williams, though, Jim, I get that the staff writers are saying, okay, it's split up between the 2 guys, but, bro, Javonte looks straight up bad last year.
Can't move.
He cannot move. 3.7 yards per carry last year on a Denver team where every other running back averaged at least 4.1 yards per carry. He was easily the worst running back on that roster. That's why he's not with Denver. So
right?
I don't call me crazy, but what if he is an even worse version of that for Dallas? How much longer can they give this guy reps? That's why I look at Miles Sanders and say, okay, this guy didn't really get an opportunity in Carolina, and we've seen a lot of players go from Carolina to other teams and play well, right? So why not Miles Sanders, who 3 years ago was a Pro Bowl player, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns for Philadelphia. Different offensive lines, I get it. But I don't think we've seen that degradation in athleticism from Miles Sanders as opposed to Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams can pass block, and there'll be a role for that. But like you're saying, Dallas is going to need to run the ball. And here's the beauty. George Pickens actually helps the running game because George Pickens is going to stretch the field vertically. That's going to be something he brings. It's going to open up for receivers, it's going to open up for tight ends. It's going to open up for the running game as well because defenses are going to be conflicted how to handle the Dallas passing attack. Dak Prescott has shown he is a very, very high-level passer. And the offensive line, Dallas has retooled it. They are not the line they were 4 years ago. This is not a bad line. This line could do enough. They've really done a nice job of retooling it on the fly. So whoever the running back is, and you mentioned Rico Dowdle's success last year, I think Dallas's line is even a little better this year. So making that super late investment in your deep leagues of Miles Sanders, he could end up easily being a weekly producer for you, making him that very attractive late round pick. Again, sleeper king all over that one. Is there something you wish your fantasy league had or features that are missing from your current leagues? Bonus scoring, custom schedules or playoffs, deeper team settings? Look no further. We have it covered with our friends at Fantrax. Fantrax is the most customizable fantasy platform in the industry, offering the greatest fantasy experience for your dynasty, keeper, redraft, and best ball leagues. Fantrax even offers college football fantasy leagues. Create or join a football league commissioner, invite your friends, and dominate your draft this season. Fantrax is the top dynasty fantasy football platform in the industry. Fantrax is now running a special promotion. You don't want to miss it. Sign up for free at fantrax.com/rotowire today to enter for your chance to win a signed Jamar Chase jersey. Simply create a new league or bring over your existing leagues for more chance to win. Again, go to fantrax.com/rotowire and sign up today. Fantrax, the home of fantasy sports. All right, James, we are going to talk some Rotowire mock draft tool. We're going to do a little mock drafting here. We'll get a few rounds and we'll talk through some players. But I want you to know, if you want to build the perfect draft, Rotowire's mock draft simulator shows you how. Whether you're a first timer or a fantasy vet, we at Rotowire have your back. Draft success starts with knowing what chance to take and when not to. And we're going to show you right now. We're going to open this tool up. We're going to give you a nice look at this. And James and I are going to help you figure out some better ways to optimize your winning. So, James, first of all, when we go to the Rotowire mock draft tool, you'll see in terms of the draft plan, we have a couple set up for you, draft and plan A, plan B. Otherwise, you want to trust Rotowire to get it going for you, do that, click that. Under the draft plan, I want to point this out, though. James, very quickly, risk and drafts. We give you 3 options if you want to set your own, put your own voice to it.
Love it.
Early rounds. And this will be for all of them. Play it safe, balance, or aim for upside. Where do you like to go in each of these sections with those 3 choices?
I mean, come on. I'm aiming for upside every time. I either want to be first or last. I don't care. Like let me aim for upside every single time. I don't know. I just get a kick out of it.
But this is good.
Yeah, that's the way I play, man. So I don't know. There are players that I will pick, like veteran players that will give me some balance to the roster too. But I could probably make an upside case for some of those players as well. But yeah.
And in this tool, we're not guessing. We draft with context, quarterback play, offensive line, playoff schedule, injury history, and more. James, as we're looking at this, you can move these different options to the top that are most valuable to you. Are there any in this list that you're looking through, like offensive line quality, age, team offense ranking, last year's performance? Are there any of these that you think you'd like to move to the top of the list? Right now, the top is overall schedule strength and injury risk. Anything you'd like to slide to the top here?
Yeah, I mean, I think run versus pass tendency, is a volume related stat that should be at or near the top of your consideration here. I think that makes a lot of difference. And again, I would probably say, offensive line quality also should be pretty high up there. Only because, to your point about Baker Mayfield, man, like he's able to get those 40-plus touchdowns because his line gave him time. He's able to go out there and run for 300-plus yards because, again, his offense is giving him some space. You know what I mean? Like, if you're under duress, I mean, shoot, you don't need to look further than C.J. Stroud. I mean, C.J. Stroud last year, my God. And it wasn't because of Stroud. Stroud's still good. It's his offensive line was a disaster, man. So yeah, I think offensive line quality also very, very important when considering your draft.
Now, James, in a moment here, I'm going to ask you a couple of players that you definitely want on your fantasy team, and I'll tell everybody what we're going to do now. We're going to lock in the players that we're circling on every draft board, and there's another feature of the Rotowire mock draft tool. Now, players that I had on my list, and we'll change them up for the ones you like. I had Dak Prescott, Breece Hall, DJ Moore, Jake Ferguson. Why don't you tell me a couple you like, and I'll take out some of mine here.
No, I mean, again, I love the fact that you've got Dak Prescott on there, mostly because, again, the addition of George Pickens, to me, I think will allow Dak to really, again, go downfield, unlock some of that downfield passing. So we'll see what's going on there. I think if I'm looking at a late-round quarterback, I think I just love Justin Herbert, man. He's going outside the top 10 quarterbacks, according to Rotowire ADP. Yep. I mean, I would love Justin Herbert on my fantasy roster this year. You know, if we're looking at a different player too, I think C.J. Stroud is going a little bit too late, but he's another player. They revamped that wide receiver room, and I do think that Stroud could also be a really, really good bounce back candidate this year.
All right. For right now, we're gonna skip this one where players you're not excited about. If there's any players you want to fade, this is the place you would do that. And so now, as we go through and we look at this, we are going to understand that the Rotowire mock draft AI simulates real opponents. Surprises in drafts continue. So we're going to finish up that draft plan, and we're going to get to mocking at pick 6. We're going to go for a few minutes here, James. I'm going to let you talk through the picks. I'll talk through some of the tool options. So James will see at the very top, and everybody will see, you see that Chase, Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Nakua are off the board. Again, the little curveball there in Nakua, which is perfect. Now, you'll see the suggested players, and you'll see notes from the assistant GM of Rotowire. Like for Justin Jefferson, top team need, receiver, number 1 receiver on the board. It'll give you a bunch of notes that'll help you decide in real time. It'll give you best available by position. I know we're not looking at kicker and defense now, but there's a point we may. And then this is another one I like. The targets we have. Anybody that could be drafted at any, like in the next few rounds, they'll list them now. The other players later, they'll list in later, but it'll tell you what percent that player is drafted before you're up next. And you see literally no chance that your top 2 players will be taken.
Right.
And then the probability of players being taken before your pick, upside players, safe players, and rookies. It has everything. James, go ahead and make a pick for me.
I mean, if you're getting to, this point in the first round and Justin Jefferson is still there, that's an auto pick. That's an auto pick. Easy.
All right. So we have Justin Jefferson. We have 1 wide receiver. We'll get to our next set of picks. And as you will see here, by position, we have running backs on the board: Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Breece Hall. Wide receivers, you have Drake London, Tyreek Hill, Ladd McConkey. Does any of these players excite you right now?
I am torn between 3 players right now: Drake London, Jonathan Taylor, and Ladd McConkey. I think for my money, I think I might go Jonathan Taylor here, only because get a little balance to my roster. And why can't Jonathan Taylor, who is literally in the prime of his career, why can't Jonathan Taylor give me 1,900 yards this year? Why not?
He's done it. He finished the season looking great, averaged over 28 carries in the last 5 games, and he was totally cashing the check. All right, that'll take us. We'll do a couple more picks here. Now, we will see when we get later in this draft, not now because it's not a big part of things, but if bye weeks begin to become a conflict for your team, the Rotowire mock tool will list in the notes when you already have like 2 players on a bye, and this would be a third. So it lets you know not to make that mistake. So that said, we have Terry McLaurin, Breece Hall, James Cook, Mike Evans, Chase Brown. Any of these, or do you want a different position yet?
Oh, no. Breece Hall's an auto pick here for me. I for whatever reason, I don't know why the Jets fans themselves don't like Breece Hall more. But he is 100% a superstar. I keep hearing this drumbeat for Braylon Allen. I don't get it. I don't understand. Breece Hall is the guy. He's the man. He is extraordinarily talented. I love that pick.
Brees Hall, I couldn't figure out why he wasn't efficient as usual last year. And then he did an interview and he explained that he played the season through a sprained MCL. I believe him. That's good enough for me. Now I expect
it was it was a complete disaster in New York. And you talk about the efficiency still at 4.2 yards per carry. That's
right.
acceptable. That's acceptable.
100%.
I'll take it.
Yeah. And look, the coaches might be talking timeshare. Once they see a healthy Braylon Allen, a healthy Brees Hall, and then they see Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, this is not a timeshare. They're going to get 20% of the work, sure, but they're not getting a huge portion of because Brees Hall's not riding the bench. All right, let's do one more pick here. We have on the clock in the 4th round, we have DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, Xavier Worthy. We have 2 running backs at this point already. Our friend Joe Mixon, who we trashed earlier in the show, Chuba Hubbard, James Conner.
Wow.
What are you thinking here?
None of those running backs interest me at all. I am actually intrigued by DK Metcalf. I think DJ Moore is really, really interesting here too. I think either one of those players, and then to me, I think there's a big teardrop here. Between those 2 guys and then the Cortland Suttons and the Xavier Worthies of the world. And I only say that because DK's the clear-cut number 1 with Aaron Rodgers there, and I really like the offense pairing Rodgers with Arthur Smith. And then DJ Moore. Again, Ben Johnson, DJ Moore has been an established good player. Can Caleb Williams take a step forward as a passer? I think he will. I'm really torn between DJ Moore, DK Metcalf. I don't know, Jim, what do you think?
Yeah, I think either way you can't go wrong. I think DJ Moore has a higher floor because even in his worst seasons, he's going to get you close to 1,100 yards. Last year was a little off that, but you can't go wrong here. So if I didn't click it, which I should have, we will just click DK Metcalf and call it a day. You can't go wrong with either one of those. I will tell you this, in addition to this mock draft tool, Rotowire completely updated the website and their app. Best time in Rotowire history. Go to rotowire.com and get a 15% discount off any subscription. You just use the code YouTube15 for that. James, this was great. We know we're going to be back with more next week.
Yeah.
We want to thank our sponsors, Circa Million and Circa Survivor contest. And thanks to everyone for listening. Make sure you come back next week for another edition of the Rotowire Fantasy Football Podcast.